All right, we are live. And today, or tonight, we have Chris Waddell, legendary frontman Chris Waddell. That's what I thought of your intro there earlier.
Thanks, man. How you doing?
Good, good. Yourself? How's your day today?
Not too bad. Kind of ran out. I made some like Chinese food tonight for supper, and I realized I didn't have a sauce, so I didn't plan to go out today. But I went out, and yeah, it's still like pretty icy everywhere. It's like kind of
Yeah, I'm still hurting from my fall 2 weeks ago.
yeah, it's bad. Like there's like so much ice these days.
Yeah, there is. I'm just looking at watching the. We had one guest view a minute ago. So, anyway, I'm trying to get people on to watch the lives. This is fairly new. But what's been happening is after my lives, I've been getting about 30 views on the videos after. People can go back and watch the replay, right? So
Yeah,
the more I have guests on, the more it will drive some content to this. It's fairly new, so it'll take a little while to build up, but it's fun. I enjoy doing this.
yeah, it's cool. I've had a YouTube channel since 2006, and it's never been like a show or like a podcast or anything. It's just kind of like my life kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
especially I started when I lived out in Vancouver still, so like a lot of my friends back here could see it and find out what I was up to and all that kind of thing. So yeah, it's just been kind of like a more of a personal channel that's like open to anybody to watch. But I've always did like when the band reunited and stuff like that, like our videos and music and stuff there on the channel.
Yeah, I was following it back then because if anyone don't know, I now play in the Wasteland Zombies as well. We'll get into that a little bit later, but what we're doing, what your vision was, and you actually contacted us to get this on the go. But the funny thing is, Chris probably don't remember. I think I asked you before, but I met Chris when he was in the Wasteland Zombies. When Chris that was in my band was your bass player. You come to Dopetown with him one day, and we were having band rehearsal, and you sang Enter Sandman and Ugly Kid Joe. you sang 2 songs with us. Then
I kind of remember that. I kind of remember it.
Then after that, I was too young to go to the bars and stuff then, but I was always friends with Chris and Glenn and all them. Then followed your band. Then after you left and moved away, I never really met you until you come back.
Yeah. I think it was at Oromocto at one of the Pioneer Days shows or something like that. Somebody, like Peter might have been playing or something. Yeah, I think I met you then. And yeah, you told me about how you guys used to like sit around in like the shack and like listen to the Wasteland Zombies tape and get like really whacked out and like, try and learn all the parts and everything. And
it's like growing up in a small town in Boys Town. That we could say getting whacked. I don't know if I should say on air what we would.
Yeah.
Nothing bad. It wasn't bad. It was actually it's funny stuff now when you think about it.
Doing what young kids do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we have someone on here live watching. If you're here, say hello in the chat. Always like I was doing podcasts that weren't music related before, and we see a lot of people in chat, so I always tried to stay interactive with the people. So anyway, Chris, let's start out with I want to start out with what your first band was. I'm not sure if it was Dreamkick or not, if you had another band before that, but if you could tell us a little bit of your backstory of how that got going then into the Dreamkick days.
Sure. So when I was probably about 40, well, it was in junior high, and like I was already into metal at that point, like going in grade 7, and at the end of like just buddies in class and stuff, and like back in the 80s it was like the era of the air band contests, and you just get up like somebody, like some people would have just like a broom or not even anything, they just air guitar. Some people would totally like build like a cardboard guitar and have a fake drum kit and stuff, but we did Iron Maiden for that air band in grade 7, and then over the summer into grade 8, the drummer that was in that air band, that air band was a guy named Scott Buffett, and he was a drummer, and he was like learning how to play drums, and we were kids, and so I was like, man, I want to start a band, like and you're a drummer. So he lived out in New Maryland. We ended up finding a guitar player that was out there in New Maryland, and he was actually, I think he was in FHS, like he was a few years older than us, but yeah, he was willing to do it. So we used to jam in Scott's basement, um, and very Iron Maiden influenced for a name. Scott came up with this name, KG Wolf, like a KG Wolf with an E on the end, and that stood for Klinger Goodwin Wolf, who was like our mascot, like, and so Klinger was like killed in like a Civil War type thing, and he got like, he got like killed and disfigured and whatever, and comes back to life, and so yeah, that's kind of our mascot, is this like crazy Eddie looking kind of guy, and KG Wolf was the name of the band. In grade 9, or sorry, at the end of grade 8. We actually got to play. So George Street Junior High used to have this variety show every year, like it was like in the springtime, and so like they would pick out acts for the variety show, and so we went up and we auditioned for that and got in with our like original song Someday, and we didn't even have a bass player, so it was just Scott and Stephen Farrell and I, and so yeah, we in the daytime. This is at the Fredericton Playhouse. So our very first show in the afternoon is to like all of our peers at the junior high school, and we get to play this one song, which is like probably like under 3 minutes long, and with no bass player. But yeah, we went out, we rocked hard and everything, and had a good time. And then that kind of evolved. So when I was going into grade 10, like around grade 8, grade 9, like probably around 87, 88, the band Neighborhood Watch, local, like those guys are legends, like hardcore punk rock legends. And their drummer, Nick Oliver, lived around the corner from where my dad lived. And I used to hear those guys practicing all the time. And so I ended up, kind of getting into the fold with those guys. Used to go and watch them jam and rehearse, and started going to their shows. And but they had a former bass player named Rob Melvin, who had left the band, and I ran into him. Scott and I were at this party and ran into him, and so before Rob Melvin joined the band as our bass player, and finally, giving us a bass player, we were just kind of like this really kind of crappy, junior high first metal band kind of thing. But when we got Rob in, Rob is a great songwriter. And so I sat down with him. And so what happened was, and I was kind of getting into this crossover scene. I wasn't really into like a lot of the hair metal stuff. Like a lot of the rock scene, even really, it was like more like the punk hardcore stuff. And that's where Rob, had come from. So in our first band, having Rob come in, and Rob and I writing songs. And then do you remember a Fredericton guitar player named Bryce McClellan? He was like just absolutely like an incredible, like I think when Much Music did that, like they did like the top guitarist in Canada. It was like some kind of contest. I believe Bryce had actually made it up to that, like it's a finalist kind of thing.
Okay, I remember I think I heard about that, but I can't really remember him really. But
yeah, he had a band called Acid Rain.
I remember that. Okay.
Yeah. So like before Acid Rain, and I knew Bryce kind of like through my brother Gordy. So Bryce came down and jammed with us, and Bryce's guitar playing, like we was like always used to say, he's like the white Jimi Hendrix. Like you just have no idea where this stuff's coming from. And so that blending with like the hardcore version of Rob, like his side. So we're kind of like a little bit of a crossover metal band. And we got to play around town. Peter Rowland, who had a record label back in the day. Peter went on to manage Sloan. I think he was doing Little You, Little Me from St. John for a while. I think he might be with Motherhood right now. I'm not too sure.
Okay.
But yeah, he had this kind of like a record label. I was going to use quotey fingers, but it was a record label called Dress to Kill Records. And of course, it was focused on Atlantic, like the alternative scene. And he had done a couple of like music festivals, And the second festival that he did was the Maritime Independent Music Festival. And so we got to play on the Metal Sunday with like a lot of great bands like Neighborhood Watch and Lizard, Adrenaline from Halifax. So it was like a good little band, and it had like a little bit of, you know, some good momentum. And when we got into high school, I mean, Scott's a freaking Scott Buffett, our drummer. He's a genius. Like literally, he's like Dan Rogers. Like Scott actually, he's a professor at UMB. So he was also like really big in hockey too. So it kind of fizzled out in that way. And then the next band was Dreamkick, which started in 1990.
1990.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was in grade 9. Yeah, at that time.
Well, one of our first shows was at the Oromocto Junior High School. And yeah, the first show that we put on was at the Oromocto, the rec center kind of thing.
Dreamkick was a little before my time because, like I say, I was in junior high, still living over home. But I was hearing about the music scene because, well, we'll get into Wasteland Zombies after. Glenn was in my father's country band, and he talked about it a lot, right? So we were like, oh yeah, we heard about this band Dreamkick, because I know some older guys over home was going to watch these at the Attic. He used to play at the Attic.
Yeah. I mean, so after KG Wolf fizzled out, I really didn't do anything. And do you remember Paul Yavis? Oh, you remember Conrad Yavis? He was a local musician. Yeah. So Conrad's son Paul, and he was the drummer. And when Peter was putting together Dreamkick, Paul was going to be the drummer. And Paul was also doing like DJ work at Country KHJ back in the day. So it was like that was going to be his profession kind of thing. So anyways, Paul was talking about it, and he had mentioned that Peter had actually wanted to ask me to come out and see if I would sing for them. But he knew that, like, because there's this like recording that I still have from like 1988, I think. And it's of like KG Wolf live. Like it's amazing that it's like actually there. And the person who recorded it was actually Peter Gillies. So so he had seen me, and he knew this kind of like energy that I had on stage. But he was like, he didn't think I'd do it because of the music that they were going to be doing. But I came out and I met with him, and we had a little sit down and chat. And I said, like, I want to do original music. Like, that's what I want to do. And back in that time for Dreamkick, like he was putting together basically a bar rock band, because we had to do, 3 sets a night kind of thing. So yeah, like it was going to be like a cover band in the bar and get into that system. But we were going to like write originals and then slowly kind of put them into our set so that we get them, that exposure kind of thing. And so like, I mean, not that I didn't like, or I just didn't really listen to it. It wasn't in my hemisphere at the time for musically, but like a lot of 70s, like, like Born to Be Wild, the Doors, which I love. And I do love all kinds of music, but it was just musically, I had never done these things before. So, and I mean, even stuff into like glam metal, like Faster Pussycat, Dangerous Toys, Motley Crue, I hate to say it, but Poison. Yes, we Poison. But we got to put in our originals, and that's, that was the awesome thing with that. We won the Fredericton Battle of the Bands, which that gave us recording time at Lloyd Hansen's place. So we went in and we recorded 4 or 5 songs, 4 or 5 originals at Lloyd's place, which, and I mean, for a rap, I mean, it's a real recording studio, right? He went away. He's like a graduate of like Berkeley and a bunch of things, and he was, kind of the guy to get recorded by around here, like for folk, country, whatever. So we did a demo with him, and then later on there was a compilation that came out. We had a song on that too, and then we went back and recorded another like a demo called Naked Left the Bones, which had probably 6 or 7 songs on it. So, and we got to play a lot of great shows. Like, it was a really fun band.
Did you guys do a video? Did that happen to make it to a Much Music show?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I can't even explain the ad hoc method of Peter's editing style back in the day. Like we're not talking about any professional means. Like it's like so Frankenstein, and that's Peter's genius. But well, we had the luck. Peter had a video camera, and that camera went everywhere with the band all the time. It was rolling, and so he had diced together a whole bunch of like just crazy shots, playing and partying, being asses and stuff, and spliced it all together with the song that we like, kind of our single, "This Means War," and sent it into Much Music. And I caught the end of it once, and I heard it played at least 3 times. And I would be guessing on loud because I know Peter had kind of made a connection with Teresa Roncon, I think her name
Oh
was.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing though, really. Like, you know what I mean? From a band from here. Like that was probably you guys were probably considered semi-famous back then over around town.
Well, yeah, like I mean, and I don't know, like it didn't seem to be on. I mean, I don't know how many people in the area watched it and stuff like that, but I mean, yeah, a few people saw it. None of us ever got to be real, to catch it, kind of thing. So sometimes it's like a little bit on half of a myth kind of a thing. Like, did this
Yeah.
really happen? But I think it did. But yeah, that was funny. Yeah, and that was a great band. And I can remember at one of our shows out in Oromocto that Glenn and Ray sat like right in front of me at the end of these tables, were like watching me like the whole show kind of thing. And then yeah, when I left Dreamkick, yeah, they were like, yeah, we want we want to talk to you kind of thing. So that's how Wasteland started.
And that was right away. That happened like, pretty much right away after that, or
It wasn't too long, like probably 6 or 7 months later, kind of thing.
okay, yeah.
Um, and then Dreamkick did like in '94, I like springish, I think it was. We did kind of like a small little tour, like to say goodbye properly, kind of thing, because we kind of got out a little bit of animosity and cleared that up and everything. But yeah, uh, from there, yeah, Wasteland started, and originally it was Chris Story, who was of course from Dopetown out your way,
Yeah.
and Rick Brown, and Rick's sadly no longer with us.
Oh.
Glenn's brother, and Ray Robinson as well, and he's from Dopetown as well, and yeah, we all went out to Sheffield to this little trailer out there, and we started, we got together and jammed, and it sounded pretty cool, and like I think our downfall in the bars, like I think we did okay, but it's like Dreamkick played a lot of stuff that you were supposed to play, and a lot of bands did play, and our whole gimmick is that like we really heavied it up a lot. Like we
Yeah.
brought more of like a more heavy rock style to a lot of like '70s and '80s rock kind of songs, and with Wasteland, it was more of like stuff that was popular in metal, but more stuff that we wanted to play ourselves and not that we felt necessarily we had to play. Like we played stuff like Prong and Caius. Oh geez, like there's all kinds of Pantera, and of course like Metallica and stuff like that. But again, another band that plus doing 3 sets of like some really cool metal, and plus putting in our originals there as well.
Well, the thing with the Wasteland is why I like it so much and did back then, right? I don't hear I hear a lot of original music, and be quite honest, I'm not being mean. A lot of original music is not that great. You know what I mean? I find a lot of people write for themselves and it doesn't transcribe to the listener sometimes.
Yeah.
And you hear well, it's hard to explain, but with your music, I didn't hear any heavy influences. It was your own thing. It was new. It was new. Like to me, it sounded new to me for the time. Like it was almost like some bands almost sounded like you guys later. You know what I mean? Later, some of these bands come out, and I think, sorry, under the right circumstances, it's hard when living here, right, to get the music out in
Yeah.
the world. But I think Wasteland could have broke big if it got into the right ears back in its day.
We were actually scouted by EMI Records accidentally.
Jesus, wow.
We were playing at a bar in St. John, and the blues player David Gogo, who's a guy from Vancouver Island, he was on a cross Canada tour, and he was playing at a bar that was up the street, and his EMI rep just happened to wander out and wander into the bar that we were playing in. And I had none of us knew he was there. And the next night at the Attic, David Gogo was playing Fredericton at the Attic, and I used to work for David Campbell and Terry Daly, and so Terry and I were helping set up David Gogo's stuff. And when the EMI guy came in, he was like, "Hey, you were in that band last night I saw at St. John," and I was like, "Oh," and he's like,
"Oh, you see me."
He was like introduced himself as like this EMI rep, and I was just like, holy shit. And I was like, can I get you a demo? And he was like, yeah. So like I like ran to the payphone and I'm like, Ray, get a demo down here right now. There's like an EMI guy here. And so he came down and gave him the demo. I heard back like a few months later that kind of they wanted us to work on the songwriting and building more. The quality, I mean, I believe we did it. It was a DAT recording, and Dave Campbell did it, and we did do like a makeshift recording studio. But those guys are, they're sound engineers, they're live sound engineers, and that's why I wanted to use them, because they work with us all the time. So they kind of had us dialed in, and I thought, who better to record our stuff? And so I always thought it was a pretty decent recording. But yeah, like that was a little, there's a little thing. Yeah, we got scouted by EMI accidentally.
That's pretty cool. I'm gonna bring something up here.
Awesome. That is the it's the cover of the town fair. I mean, it was 7 or 8 songs, and gosh dang it, I have to pull up see how many were on there, and all the names. But yeah, that artwork is done by Mike Fields. The logo is done by Mark Nino. Now, Mike, of course, I went out west with Mike, and we ended up working on, the X-Files and that stuff together. And Mike's still working in the film industry, but that's, almost everything that Wasteland Zombies done artwork-wise, I've always gone to Mike to use for that. Love his work. And that was
that's the only picture I could find earlier.
So in '94 I went out to Vancouver, and did work like music industry wise. Like I did get together with some people out west. Is obviously when you get into Vancouver, it's a larger pool than there is here, but obviously there's more opportunity. Yeah. I got a really amazing job when I first got there, and ended up being part of the on-site management team of a large venue that did all kinds of stuff. And then we ended up working with Mike on the X-Files, and then I worked for Electronic Arts after that. And then after I moved back here, 2014, decided to I didn't decide. I reached out to Glenn and Ray to see if they wanted to do it, get together and jam and possibly do like a reunion show or something. And so 2014, I think, was when we got together. And it was Rick, Glenn's brother, and Glenn and Ray, and we didn't have a bass player at the time because Chris moved on to other things. And I was working at CHSR then, and so this bass player, a woman named Kate, she heard me talking about saying that I needed a bass player, and she's like, "Oh, my fiance plays bass, and he's really good." And you kind of hear that, yeah. Like you're sure he is, and like she was pretty young and stuff, so not to question how good could he be, but I mean, Jake's an incredible bass player.
Yeah, he's a madman.
Yeah, and so yeah, in 2014 we did that reunion show out in Oromocto with Jake Taylor on bass, and then Glenn on drums, Rick and Ray, and myself, and went on for about a year or so. When did you come in? Do you remember?
About 2016.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't believe it's that long ago, because I went back just to show somebody one of our live videos, and I'm like, what is that? It was 2016, really? Like,
Yeah.
to me,
Yeah.
to me, it only seems like 4 or 5 years ago, right? Still, like, and I
Yeah.
was at that. I was at the reunion show. Was that with Fallen Pawns and another band
Yeah.
that night?
Alter Ego, I think, played.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if that was the same show. I think Pat was there. Pat Pelche.
Yeah.
They drove me home. Yeah.
Yeah. Pat would have played with Alter Ego, or he would have
Okay.
singing. He would have been singing for Alter, or not Alter Ego.
Moment
of Inertia. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, Moment of Inertia. That's what I was. It probably threw you off there too. Yeah, with the Lockhart brothers.
Yeah.
And I think Chuck Wilby was on drum.
I believe so.
Yeah. Yeah, they were a fantastic band too. Really good. And Pat, Pat played drums in Dreamkick, so it was awesome. Awesome to see him singing. It's
funny how everything ties together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Chris Story was in our band, and he was in your band. Glenn was in my father's band and in your band. Then now I'm in a band with Pat again. Right?
Yeah. Like the system regurgitates itself, and like it's just I mean, you find it, like I even find, like, even in bigger cities, like, again, because it's like a community, right? So unless like new people come into the community, and that happens too, like new people come and go out of the music scene community all the time.
Yeah.
So like we all end up playing together one way or another.
It's pretty cool that way. So we did some shows. We played quite a few shows with Wasteland Zombies when I joined.
Yeah, we did St. John, Sussex, Nova Scotia. Did we do anything in Moncton? I don't know if we did anything in Moncton.
No.
But
we did the metal show, the outside metal show. That was fun.
Yeah, the Maritime Metal Fest down in Windsor.
Yeah, I wish the videos are gone from a guy who recorded the Capitol when we did the Capitol show, because that was a really good show. The quality on his videos were really good, but
right,
he lost his channel. I was nervous because I jammed for 2.5 weeks and we had that show.
Was that, you mean for the Capitol project? Like
no, it was just like the first gig.
Oh, the first gig. Oh, okay, yeah.
I think you guys had it booked already, so when I joined, I had like 3 weeks.
We knew
learn those songs.
We knew you could do it.
So anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say it was so cool to, when we were looking for a guitar player, like you came up like almost immediately, because you were from out that way, and you were available, but you had like we talked about earlier, you had grown up kind of playing our stuff and listening to our stuff. So to have you and to come into the band was like, let's fucking do that. And you've been like,
I had to tweak it.
Yeah.
I had to tweak the songs in my style, because Ray's amazing, right? Like, to try to copy him, it's impossible to play that way, right? So I was like, well, I'm gonna have to tweak it and kind of make it my own, because I ain't gonna be able to copy that. I don't even think I played the songs right yet. If I go back and think about it.
Well, like you were talking about the Wasteland Zombies and the sound, and like, Glenn came from a country background. Not that he was a country drummer. Like, he can play drums to anything. Like, he's totally versatile in that way. But he had, came from a country background, and Chris came from like a metal background, but probably more out, a little bit more towards country as well, out that way. And then, at the time we had Richard O'Neill, and Rich was like really into the grunge scene kind of thing. So, and I listened to a lot of stuff, and back then I was really into like everything from kind of like really hardcore metal to like industrial metal, like Ministry and stuff like that. I like to really like distorted vocals, and also like Faith No More. Mike Patton's like a huge, like back then was a huge influence on, you know, kind of like letting you know that you didn't have to just stick to singing. Your voice can do other noises and things that you can add a heavy element to whatever you're doing.
Yeah. And for anyone watching here, watch this on the replay, they can go to YouTube because I thought it was really amazing. I watched the old concerts of you guys. There's one at the Maritime Club. It's like then the Canada Day.
Yeah, the Canada Day one. Yeah, downtown. Yeah, we've got to play some interesting shows in our little capital city here because, that was 1994 Canada Day. We got to play the Canada in front of City Hall in Fredericton, and there were like some other like kind of like rock acts and stuff that played too. But yeah, to be a heavy metal band and play in front of your City Hall was pretty cool. And then I think it was 2014 as well. And I think we did it 3 times. We played at the Sobeys grocery store on Regent Street, out front of the grocery store, which was just hilarious. They were like, "Hey, do you want to do this show?" Because it was for the Zombie Walk.
Oh yeah.
And she got somebody married us together, actually, the Zombie Walk and Wasteland Zombies, and they were like, you'll play out front of the Zobies in the parking lot. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'll do that. That's hilarious. So, yeah, we did that like 3 times. So that's like, I wear that as a badge playing.
Only thing I like when you go back to the Wasteland Zombies days, South Canada Day, it's a whole different era of the music scene in Fredericton back then. It was a lot better, more vibrant.
Oh my goodness.
Now, like you guys did that show, I watched the video. There's local metal, and the crowd was full. People enjoying themselves out dancing, moshing around. Yep. And now Canada Day. I'm not putting blame to anyone, but I kind of am. they overlook local bands.
Right.
They're bringing in acts that I wouldn't get out of bed to go see, to tell you the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot of more artsy fartsy. Don't even know what it is, right? But it kind of took that whole element of what Canada Day meant because people used to look forward to watching their favorite bands, and local bands get the chance to go in and do that.
I got in crap a few years ago when I was on Facebook because when Fred Rock became like this Fred folk rock kind of thing. Like they didn't have rock, and somebody at one point said, "Oh, you just want it to be a heavy metal festival." I was like, "No, it's called Fred Rock," and none of the bands that they were beginning to have. I wouldn't classify them as rock kind of thing, and that festival died off. But Fredericton's kind of like really cliquey, and Harvest Jazz and Blues Festival. All of a sudden, thousands of fucking people all of a sudden love music and spend that fucking week downtown and just jam pack it. And then the rest of the year, you know what it's like, man. It's like a hard slog to get people to get out. So it's a finicky town.
I just think people don't go out either because the bars, like, even when I started playing in town, we had the Bugaboo, we had the Upper Deck, and had Chestnut, and bands could almost get on a rotation and play all the time. And a lot of people will come out then, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm finding now is, because I'm trying to help bands get shows, and a lot of places are recycling the same acts over and over and over.
Yeah.
And they're not allowing anyone new to come in. So it's really hard. I'm talking to like people we know, musicians that are saying, man, we've been around the city for 30 years and we can't even get a gig in our new band. So it's a little tough, right?
Yeah. I think, and it feels like, and you might agree with this, like you've got your tendrils into the local scene like much better than I do. Like I used to be I used to know what's going on. I felt the heartbeat of the city for music. But I'm really not in it anymore. I think from what I hear, even through friends, is that we're on like the new wave, the next wave of like our area's music scene is about to, you know, explode kind of thing. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of new bands, there's a lot of new young kids that are playing, and yeah, like man, like I agree with you about the whole thing about back in the day, like when Dream Kick was around, like yeah, there was almost like 6 places in this city you could play, and when you played, you packed them all, like
Yeah.
you know, and like the same with a lot of the other cities around, and that whole alcohol scene, the whole going out scene has really changed. I mean, we've watched it really change. The city's lost a lot of nightclubs, like not forget live venue places, but even nightclubs. Like they've
Yeah.
lost a lot of people that went out and drank, right? So, but I think, and hopefully there'll be places to play. I think what was the lady's name? Lexandria that you did the podcast with.
Oh yeah, Alexander Flexman.
Yeah, yeah. I think she said something about that there's all ages, kind of like there's kids that are putting on shows.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they're going really well too.
Yeah, and that's usually that's what always happened, like back in Neighborhood Watches Day, and kind of like there was like there's always been a great music scene around Fredericton, like Carl Gans's rock band Safety in Numbers,
Oh yeah.
Vanderwolf, I think that they were called. They were a great rock band with Sean
Sean,
Burgess.
yeah, Sean's band.
Yeah.
And it's funny you mentioned Safety in Numbers. I never heard that in a long time. They played at our high school prom for a live band.
Yeah. I know they did the prom scene there for a while.
And I thought it was so cool, you know what I mean? Not really seeing rock bands over home, right? Like, because they played, they played rock, like Cheap Trick and everything else in between, right? But yeah, like I was kind of like amazed, right? Seeing a rock band for the first time, besides watching Dad's country band. That was a little different.
That's like, yeah, and like when Dreamkick started out and Peter had this idea of like, really adding a lot of heaviness to like these classic rock songs. Like there were some people around town and like the old scene that were like, no one's gonna hire you guys like to play that kind of music kind of thing. And Peter and I really felt like, yeah, they are. Like, that hard rock, the people, the thirst for hard rock was there. And like Trina's the bar that used to be in King's Place. Like I sat down with her and I said, do you want to sell alcohol? And she said, yep. I said, hire my band. So,
well, I'm finding now too. We'll get back to your stuff here in a minute. Like I contact a lot of venues for another band that wants to come out here, and like the big bars, like the Marquee and stuff. You can't sell a band to them. They want you to pay $1,200 to rent the room.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little tough, right? There's no promoter. Like the venue can't just say, okay, well, we'll put up a guarantee. And
no, I know it's it's like pay to play, right? And
so you got to rent the venue and promote it yourself, or find a promoter that wants to, take the show on, kind of thing. So it's a little tougher because I ran into like 3 or 4 different places like that now that weren't like that 10 years ago, right?
Yeah. It's I can't imagine. I know even from like like even the punk rock side. I mean, because the Capitol does have that, the hardcore kind of stuff there as well. They have everything there really. But I do like the idea of like a little bit like I don't even know if there's room for competition anymore, kind of thing. Like are enough people willing to go out to see independent music kind of thing, or do they just want to wait around to like a big show like the Megadeth show that just came through, or do they just want to wait till that kind of happens, right? So because back here we've got usually the only choice we have to see a big show is to travel up to Montreal or go down to the States or go to Halifax, right? Like there isn't much that comes through here.
Yeah, it's different for original acts because I'm playing a cover band now, right? It's a little different. Like we're actually getting people out. It's crazy, but which I'm more of an original guy myself. So, but But there was people going out again. I've seen that change come over the last couple of years. Like we played for a while where we played, no one really come out, and just lately, like wherever we're going, it seems like there's a big crowd there. So maybe people got cooped up of the 5 years of sitting home not doing much, and now they're over it and starting to go back out.
Yeah, I think so too. And like I said, I mean, I think that next wave is coming, and I think like one of the kind of the sayings that I've had about our local musicians, and I think anywhere that you're kind of isolated by the weather or the winter or whatever, like that just makes you stay inside and work on your craft, right? And that's why like people get so damn good around here at playing their instrument and just having amazing bands. It really sucks that you still have to be in, like a big place like Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, whatever, in order to get signed. Like it doesn't even make sense, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's been thousands of bands from here that have just been absolutely, fucking incredible. That have lived.
Blows my mind. There's a lot.
Yeah, that have lived and died that the world probably should have seen in some way. But there's so much music out there, man. There's just so much music. Like, it's incredible.
For sure. We got someone else popped in live with us. Say hi in the chat. Introduce yourself. Hey, ask a question. So, Chris, we went through the backstory of everything. So let's pop into what the Wasteland Zombies is doing now.
Well, so, geez, it is 20. So I think we went from like 2014 to 2018. And I'd taken a lot on, and my health kind of went downhill. So I pulled myself out of everything, and hadn't really done anything like all through COVID and after that. And then not this spring here, but last spring, I was looking at some videos that we did at the Hollywood Star Room out in Ripples, and the two songs, Anubis Rising and Fire Breathing Liar. And I was just like, like those songs are just so damn good. Like we've got it. Like I want to have those like recorded. So I set out to try and get that into motion. And sadly, again, Glenn's brother, Rick, one of our founding members, passed away. Obviously had to take, everybody had to take the time to kind of grieve and get over that. So, but yeah, and then what was it? Just a few months ago, everybody was ready and the stars were lining up, and we started to get at her.
Oh, sorry. Someone in the chat made me laugh while you were telling that story. I didn't mean to laugh while you were talking about that, but this is funny. Your Wasteland Zombies bassist is really hot. Is he single?
That's probably him.
I'm pretty sure that's him. The Taylor family. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just said, yeah, he is. Not bad. Not bad at all. So yeah, the songs, Anubis, I reached out to you a couple years about that because I didn't know if we were going to do anything, because I love that riff so much. I was like, can I use that to write a new song? Because I like that riff. Right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm glad that you said we wanted to do these, because we got together and started, and it's really going somewhere. Yeah.
It's everybody always says it's gonna be like the best. They want it. I want it to be like the best thing that we've ever done. I believe like lyrically, it's like two of like my lyrically the best that I've ever done. You guys like are, and it's always been like that with the Wasteland Zombies. Like, I mean, sure, somebody's got a little bit of an idea of a noodle in their head that they'll throw out at a jam, but like I think it was Anubis Rising. Like by the third time we played it through, like it sounded pretty much like the way that we're playing it now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it came together pretty fucking fast. And that kind of like, I love that kind of lightning in a bottle moment where like really cool songs come together like that. And it has expanded and matured since those days even. But yeah, just really cool songs.
They are. I was going to add something to that, and I lost my train of thought.
Happens to me all the time.
Oh, Jake said he has a little noodle.
Yes, he does.
So we're taking this, people watching this, we're taking this weekend off because of Easter, but I think we're ready to start tracking, right?
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. There's some other ideas. I mean, well, yeah, I've got some harmony ideas, but we'll noodle around with that once we get around to that. But yeah, I like it's a weird environment, you know. I mean, we were never like a hugely, you know, obviously like a massively popular band. We did, you know, pretty good around our scene. We never really had, well, actually, no. I mean, we never really had anything really good officially out. We're on vinyl on the Capitol Project, Tim Raines documentary that he did, like on that soundtrack that he did. That was like a big kind of like, you know, bucket list thing for me, even if it was one song. Or do we have two songs on that? We might have two songs on it. Right?
Is it two?
I think it might be two songs that's on that. But yeah, to have something on vinyl was always a dream of mine. So yeah, like I would like to kind of like package together like the recordings that we did since you've been in the band and put that down. And I've had, you know, whether vinyl or CD, but it'll be a really limited run kind of thing. Like I'm not, you know, like thinking I'm going to buy thousands of units and expect to push them. Fuck that. So,
No, do a limited supply, maybe getting them thrown up on digital distribution. So
something like that. Yeah.
So it's hard to. I'm just doing the math in my head. Like we're playing those songs the same structure, but we just tweaked them better now because they were all new. Every time we played those songs back then, I didn't even quite know how they went. I'm just winging it, right? So now we get the stretcher beat in my head a little more. But that was 7 years. It was like 7 years ago. We played those songs live for the Capitol Project.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah. And then like to go back to like the Spread Your Wings is like 1994, you know. So, and that was cool to like kind of like because those songs had new life breathed into them, you know, and even a little bit more when you came in as well. And to be able to capture that, like those, you know, as it is now kind of thing. You know, I've always been a big multimedia person, like whether it's film, picture, or whatever, capturing moments. So yeah, to capture the band at this moment, and that's why I felt like so strongly when I saw Anubis and Fire Breathing Liar. I was like, yeah, we got to capture those songs. What was geez, I can't, Zombie Nation, The Elitist was the other one, and then yeah, Spread Your Wings, and yeah, it'd be cool to have all those things packaged together on an album somehow.
What I'm going to do after the show, I'm going to go into the comments and put some links in and pin it. So when people go to the show, they can find the links. Because a lot of people don't really probably remember or know that we went to Moncton and shot a video.
Oh, yeah.
At a haunted house or a real haunted house. Like what was that place?
Zombie Manor. I was telling somebody about this the other night. I think, well, so there's a guy around town, Jared Carney, who's a budding filmmaker, cinematographer. He's done some horror movie shorts. And he got a hold of me about wanting to do a music video with us. And so we weren't even really like, I think we were writing back then, but I wasn't writing anything specifically. And he somehow got wind of this Zombie Manor in Moncton and managed to get us to be able to shoot the video there. That was crazy.
I'll put that link there too so people can go back and watch it. I remember that day it was cold. I was freezing, especially with that fake blood on me. I was like,
yeah. I mean, it was like a big warehouse place. I don't know. Like they were having some issues getting it off the ground. I don't know if heating was one of them. I mean, it must cost a fortune. It was like an old airplane hangar or something like that.
Yeah. It was pretty neat. That was really awesome to check that place out and take the tour and stuff. Like it was really cool.
13 tractor trailers that they drove up from Texas with all of that stuff that they brought to Moncton. And I'm like, I wonder where the heck where that all went. Like, there's some cool stuff in there. Like,
yes, there was. So what else? What else you want to add? I think we covered everything, Chris.
I think
so.
so. Yeah,
I could just shoot the shit forever, but I don't want it to go too stale.
All good, man.
So what's up for the zombies? That's the main goal, right? Is to get these songs put out and
get these songs put out and get that put in the can and possibly do a live show. Like, I don't know how much I got in form of, like, doing a show kind of thing. Somebody had suggested about possibly doing like an in session at CHSR, because they still do those live session things.
Okay.
So, maybe even something like that and capture it on video as well, kind of thing. And like, I'd really like to be able to, like, like, put out something. I mean, it'd be an independent release, but I'd really like to put out something concrete with what we've done, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's
a very good plan.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for it. I'm glad to be a part of it, actually. Like, I'm looking forward to the project that we're doing right now. So
yeah, it's very cool to be working with all you guys, and that, like, again, like, someone as incredible that Jake is, that he's still available to do it. And, he never really went off and did anything with anybody else. He was just kind of like this wasteland musician that we were, like, blessed with. So,
yeah. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up. And thanks for coming on, Chris. This was a great podcast. And I'm learning history that I didn't know as well. So
that's what, I know we're, like, kind of goodbying here, but listening to Steve Dredd talk, the first one that you did, like, I mean, he was it sounded like he's been performing longer than I have, kind of thing, and I started when I was like 14. So we've stuck to our scene, or kept our claws in our scene and know the history of it, kind of thing. So anyways, man, thank you so much for having me on. And it's we'll see you when we jam next.
Yeah, and for those that watch, thank you, and for everybody else, we'll have the links in the bottom, and go check this stuff out. Because I'm gonna put up some of those videos, the Canada Day and stuff. I'm gonna find those, and I'm gonna pin them all to this.
Cool.
Okay.
All right,
Thanks.
Man. Cheers.
Peace out.